you are dependent on that organization and the royalties they charge. It could, exact like you said, it could vary. So, for a country like India, what is really, what protects our interest in the long term is to store it in open formats, which, open standards, which are clearly free of all royalty encumbrances, where the patents are, assigned freely and made freely available. And because then, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, you won't have any problems of, trying to understand how this format has been created. If typically open standards are supported also by multiple vendors. So if one vendor goes down, it doesn't really matter. Whereas proprietary standards are typically owned and controlled by a particular vendor. As the industry has grown, the challenge is that we have kind of started by using XYZ word processor or certain multimedia players, etc., and we've gotten used to certain formats which over a period of time has. So it's not been something where society as a whole or organizations, software developers, end user organizations have come together and created standards. As the industry is maturing, that is what is happening. There is a move from proprietary standards to more open standards, because for a government, clearly it doesn't make sense to use proprietary standards as far as possible. But for individuals, it doesn't really matter. So computers earlier were more like personal computers. But now we are moving to the era of network computers, where people share documents with each other over the internet, where people share multimedia files with each other. And eventually, over a period of time, what really will happen is that, for example, you don't pay for standards in the physical world, because those are now commonly agreed protocols. I think eventually we'll stop paying for standards in the digital world, because if a government can choose, say, a format like OGG, which is free, over, say, a format like MP3, which is a royalty based standard, why should they not choose OGG? Every public interest issue basically points to the usage of a free format like OGG. So I think that shift is going to happen over a period of time. But the biggest challenge right now is that the proprietary vendors who are owning these formats, they have such huge amounts of money to lose, that they are able to invest huge amounts of money in lobbying against these kind of open policies. Whereas if you look at the organizations on the other side, the civil society organizations, even the open source software community, they are not that well organized at this point in time. They are not that coordinated. They are not that, they don't have that kind of resources to invest. They don't have as much to lose as the proprietary software vendors. So for them, it's a direct hit on their bottom line. So which is why they are investing huge amounts of money in lobbying for proprietary standards. So I think that's a huge challenge that we face at this point in time. So there are the royalty based standards are kind of pushed under the format of reasonable and non-discriminatory. Now, what is reasonable for a vendor sitting in, say, America? He may say $1 is reasonable for me. May not be reasonable for an Indian for whom $1 is 47 rupees or 48 rupees. So these are interim challenges as we move into a society that is more and more open. I think our vision as an open source entity is that eventually the world will move to open standards at the base, where you can have the freedom to encode and decode your data, to open source in the middle, where you have the freedom to modify the source code of the software, and to open content on the top. So if you look at Wikipedia, if you look at all these kind of phenomena that is happening, Linux, Wikipedia, all these are typically governed by these three layers. So you look at the mailing list of a Linux user group, that's like a freely accessible repository of knowledge. So that is open content. The software is modified by thousands and thousands of volunteers around the world, and it's all done using open standards. So that's, I think, the layer of open content, open standards, and open source that we see becoming the predominant architecture of innovation. So over a period of time, we feel that this will become take hold. But in the interim, we have the proprietary software vendors saying that we will charge a reasonable and non-discriminatory fee for using our standard. And reasonable for whom is a question that is we still don't know the answer to. You have open standards. The thing is, it does not preclude anybody from competing or anybody from implementing it. It basically enables competition. So open standards basically can be implemented by proprietary software vendors as well as open source software vendors. And that's where what you see with browsers, for example. There is a value in an open source reference implementation because you can clearly see using the source code, you can see the source code, you can see how it has been implemented, how that particular, So in many cases, I think an open source reference implementation for a particular standard makes a lot of sense. Because, the thing is, users can clearly see how the standard has been implemented, and that software, that becomes a good reference point for others also to implement, that standard. So I think, so that's kind of a valuable thing.